Pedro, you just said we shouldn't micro niche on things that are irrelevant. And then Scott talked about the example I gave about being a realtor that only works with the CrossFit community. What does buying a house have to do with CrossFit? Put in the chat. What does buying a home, do we use different forms if it's a CrossFit buyer? No. Is there a special financing option for CrossFitters? No, not that I can tell. Do CrossFitters not need doors because they're going to scale the walls and go in the windows? No. Last time I checked, CrossFitters, as crazy as they are, they still go in the front door. Do they have extra big backyards so they can build, obstacle courses in their back? No. There's nothing different about the real estate buying process for a CrossFitter. However, in that scenario, the whole point of the niching down there to CrossFit is to get affinity, to create an affinity and a connection and momentum, especially in referral-based businesses, to quickly, easily penetrate networks, to quickly become known as the guy, the gal that hooks up all of the CrossFit community in your town. Okay? So I want you guys to see that, like, sometimes I'll say something, and then you'll see me say something that seems to contradict that a minute or two later. It doesn't contradict it. It just is showing you that this is, guys, this is an art and a science. This is as much art as it is science, and there's nuances to this. Okay? So I want you guys to, I just want to cover that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Let's jump in. The 10-part micro niche checklist. Who's ready to go? Who's ready to go? Because I'm taking some examples on this session. I'm going to take some examples. We're going to do some laser coaching, some mini hot seats. Did you guys catch that? Mini hot seats. Emphasized mini. Again, don't make me regret that. All right. Let's go. Your micro niche messaging pre-launch checklist. Here we go. Who? How niche down is your who? How many layers deep? Count it. Write out your micro niche right there. I help men, women, take it off your worksheet. Where are you at with this? How many levels down are you on the who? Do you feel you're deep down enough? Some of you need to pull it back a little bit. Some of you have overly niched on who because you did not understand that the what and the how, all three of these things together actually create your micro niche. So some of you maybe have gone too far in the who. Maybe you shouldn't limit this to people from, that were born on November 3rd. Who went to private school. And have an earring. You're like, hey, that actually makes no sense. I don't need to do that anymore. Right? So just do a check-in. Have you overly niched down on things that actually don't make any sense? Hey guys, we're people on virtual are asking for the worksheet. So let's get the worksheet. Okay. We're on it, guys. We're on it. It's coming. 1 to 10. How do you feel you are with this one? If you feel like you're and of course, we're not going to really know for sure until we run it, but rank yourself. Have you at least made the effort? Do you feel like you should be at least 2, 3, maybe 5 levels in? Okay. Who thinks they have a level? Who thinks they have a 10? Who's got an 8? 9, put your score, guys, in the virtual. Drop your score in here. Let me see your scores. All right, I can't see. It's going too fast. Who, can someone help me? Jamie, you want to help me? Can you check in the chat? Pick me someone that's got like a 10. Pick me a 10 out of the chat. And let me just see. Huh? All right, Chris Garcia, we're coming to you. Is there a reason why there's blinding lights in my face? Those were new. Those were not there earlier. All right, Chris Garcia, where are you at?
Let's get here.
What's up, bro?
Hey, Pedro. I met you in the Mastermind in Paradise in Mexico in March, so I have a picture with you. Maybe you don't remember me.
Oh, yeah. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, my friend. All right, you think you're a 10?
Yeah.
All right.
I have a 10.
Hey, you could be right. Guys, I'm not trying to, I hope he's right. So tell me.
I say that I have a 10. I'm not really sure, but I'm going
to find out. We're going to find out. All right, what do you got? Tell me who your who is.
I have online course program creators between 26 to 38 years old, which lives in Mexico, Colombia, and Chile, who are already Facebook users, helping them to achieve the 6 figures business because they are stuck in the 5 figures business a year using Facebook ads, and they have this problem.
Okay.
With iOS 14.
Okay. So your who is, they're online course creators?
Yeah.
Online course creators. Okay, let me just write this down. I'm going to forget. Okay, online course creators. What? And you said there was an age demographic?
Yeah, 26 to 38.
Okay. And they were from a certain part of the country?
Mexico, Colombia, and Chile. Because in Latin America, we have a green market.
And they're at what phase of their business? They're stuck under a certain level?
Yeah, they're stuck at 5 figures business a year. Because in Latin America, there is a lot of Facebook ad information, but not for info products. It's not for course creator.
All right, perfect. So your who is online course creator, 25 to something. I forgot an age range. They're in
26 to 38.
They're in certain countries, and they're at they're under 5 figures a year in revenue. How many guys would agree that's 4 levels deep?
They are already Facebook ad user.
And they're already using Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many guys think he's actually achieved 5 levels deep? He gave us 5 criteria, and each of them have gone 5 levels. Each of them have niched down. Yeah, he has. He has. Okay. So the only question I would pose back, the only reason why I think this might not be 10 is the question, which of all those things, which one stands out like this one doesn't really belong? Age. To me, the age doesn't seem to really stand out. You said 25 to what?
26 to 38.
Okay. Why did you pick that, my friend? What's special about 26 to 38?
Because it's the life that you want to build is for my message. It's the life that you want to build in the next 20 years or 30 years from now. Because if I speak this one to the 60 years old, nothing wrong with that. Sorry, guys. But it's like, I don't have that time. I don't know if I have the time. So it's like, what do you want in the next 20 years from now?
So is that part of your pitch? Is that part of how you promote this? Is you're offering them
it's the message.
Your messaging is around building a 20-year plan?
It's a building the life that you want. In like, we are seeking for freedom, for financial freedom, to enjoy our 60 plus years.
Right.
So it's like something like that. That's why I picked that kind of.
All right. So I would tell you from my experience, even though you could be right, a lot of your customers may end up just automatically coming from that age range. I don't know why specifically you would niche in on that. Because I think there's people that would want to be in what you're doing that are in their earlier 20s and in their mid 40s and even 50s. So to me, I would have you really look at the necessity. What are you really gaining by niching, by having the age range? I'm not sure that you need it. Now, so what I think you could do is he could run ads to say, what was your lowest age range, my friend?
26.
Okay, 26 that's probably a good low end, right? Maybe 25. And then what was your high range?
38.
38. Okay, I would probably kick that to like 55. I'd probably kick it to 60. And I would probably just do 25 and above for a while. For a while. And then see what comes back. You might be shocked at the people that resonate with this message. I would tell you that from my personal experience, there are a lot of people who are in their late 50s and 60s who are more and more and more coming into the online space for one of several reasons. One, they actually like to be productive. They like to be of use, of service. They don't think sitting on the couch watching TV all day, or they don't want to watch their grandkids every single day. They don't want to play, backgammon all day. They want to actually stay engaged and contribute. And many of them are coming to this online industry to find ways to contribute in new ways once they leave their career. How many of you guys know that's true? How many guys that's you? So they're in this room, and they're on virtual. So those are real people that exist. I don't know why you wouldn't let them opt into your world, especially because you're in Latin America, where there's just not a lot of this available. Even more so, reason why I don't think you need that, because you've niched in so good geographically. Does that make sense? You guys get that? Then you got people who are approaching retirement age, bad luck, poor planning, divorce, got a late start, lost a business, something went wrong, and they need an additional income in retirement. And they're looking to this online space to do something like that. So my only feedback is I would test it to a broader age range and then see what happens. See what happens. You might be surprised. You might have a lot of customers coming in that you did not foresee. And so does that make sense? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm happy to hear that, because you give me permission to broaden my audience a little bit more. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, broad that piece.
Better than I thought.
And why does that make sense? Because he's got a lot of other things pretty dialed in, and the age thing kind of doesn't really. It's not super the most relevant. Now, we tend to attract. So let me say this. I don't care how much you micro niche and do all that. That's great. Let's do it. And also, there is some truth to this thing that says you attract who you are. Okay? You attract who you are. So, it would not surprise me. How old are you, my friend?
28.
You said 38?
28.
Yeah, I was going to say, this guy looks good for 38. All right, 28. I feel better about myself. I was like, damn.
Because I have a better.
You look good for 28. All right, 38. I was like, okay. So, we tend to attract who we are. So, it's 28-year-old. I wouldn't be surprised if most of his customers were probably in their mid-20s and 30s, maybe early 40s. I wouldn't be surprised, okay? We tend to attract who we are. So what I would say is go open your niche up on the who a little bit, get rid of the age, see what happens. If you're like, Pedro, I did what you said, I only have like 2 customers over 50. And I've spent this much money showing ads to people over 50. I've only had 2 people. I'm not resonating with that audience, that demographic. I'm trying to help them, but it's just not a match. Okay, now you have data. Now go ahead. You can slide that back down. Because why waste money? Why waste money pursuing people that could benefit from you? That defeats the whole point of the micro niche. And I'm not saying he's wrong for even having it that tight now. Because the fact is, if he has enough potential customers that he can make an amazing living serving that fit between 26 and 38, if he's like Pedro, but there's 1 million people in that bucket. And if I got 10,000 of them to be my customers, I would be wildly rich. So if there's 1 million or 100,000 or whatever there's a big enough number of potential clients, it's this big, and if you only captured this much to crush it, then we can make the argument, then leave it. Because if we know that we tend to attract who we are, and if who we are represents a big enough segment of people to achieve your financial ambition, now maybe he just leaves it alone. Does that make sense? Pedro, what are you doing? Like 3 minutes ago, you had me convinced to get rid of my age, and now you just had me convinced to put it back. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to get you to think. I'm here to teach you how I think, which is way more important than me telling you what to do. So if I tell you what to do, that's one time, once in history, once in a moment, I told you what to do once. And now the next time, you got to come back to Pedro again, and it ain't going to work. But if I teach you how I think about this, how to think about this, then next time you have to decide, you can just think for yourself about how and when to use these tools I'm giving you. Does that make sense? So that's why I like to give you both sides of this. It's not to confuse you, it's so you understand when to use it and when not to use it. Awesome. All right, guys, let's give my man a hand. I would say that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Okay. Lever number 2 of the micro niche, the what. I don't know what his what is. He didn't even tell me what his what was. Okay, that's fine. How many of you think your what? How specific is the problem that you're solving? My man right here is helping these 25 to 30-something online course creators in some Latin America who have not broken 5 figures a year. How many of you know those people have more than one problem? They have all kinds of problems. Some of them have marriage problems. Some of them have drinking problems. Some of them have financial problems. Clearly, they all have a marketing problem. But that's not the only problem they have. Those people probably have they have banking problems. They have, right? They're probably buying things on Amazon. They're probably going to Costco. They're spending money in a lot of places. So whatever my man does, he's not the only person trying to solve their only problem. Does that make sense? Okay. So, you're what? How specific is the problem that you're solving? How specific are you clear about with them about the result you're helping them achieve? I hear this a lot, especially from the woo-woo people. Where are my woo-woo people? You guys know my affectionate woo-woo people? And I ask you, well, what do you actually do? Pedro, it's hard to explain. But it's incredible. I change people's lives. But it's hard to explain. You got to just kind of, I help them with their identity, and they're this, and they're that, and da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, so what problem are you solving? Oh, man, like, this solves it's just like, remember, guys, I'm into the woo. I'm for it. There's few people more woo-woo than me. I mean, I'm up there. I'm in for the woo, but But that's not what I tap into when I'm trying to like actually clearly, effectively message and communicate value in the marketplace. Well, it's so good you just have to experience it. Okay, well, there's something to that. I understand that. That's why we do taste and see marketing. On some level, that's exactly why we run challenges. That's why it's called taste and see. However, once they've done taste and see, now it's like, cool, I'm into it. I like you. You're smart. You've earned my trust. Now, now I need some specificity. What are we going to accomplish in this 6 weeks, in this 8 weeks, in your 6-week thing, in your 8-week things? What problems are going to be solved? How am I going to feel different, think different, look different? Will my bank account be different? What is going to be different at 6 weeks from now that is not that way today? With specificity. How clear are you about your what? So, let's go. Time of truth. Put in the chat. Put in your number. Put in your number. Rank yourself. Score yourself. Someone said 100. You can't do 100. It's 1 to 10. 100. Hey, anyone, you're trying too hard, bro. I can tell you right now, if I came to you, you might change your answer. Trying too hard. Who's the 100? 8,000. Okay, you're really trying too hard. It's 1 to 10, guys. You know those people? They're always extra. Now someone put 1 million. You guys have lost your mind on virtual. Okay, all right. Come on, who's got a 10? All right, 10. Oh my gosh, no one's there. Hey, someone pick a number. They're going so. Kevin Kinnan. Boom. I think I saw Kevin put a 10. Who's Kevin Kinnan? Are you here? Let's get him unmuted. I don't even know what room, Zoom, what number he is. I saw a 10 flash by the screen. Hey, buddy.
How are you?
How are you? Are you coming from, is that Australia or is that, no? That's a castle?
No, I'm in Newcastle in England.
It's international.
It is.
Can you guys tell I got an A in geography? Clearly. All right, so you're in Newcastle?
That's right, yeah.
The Newcastle, UK, all the way from the UK. What's up, my friend? Welcome to Crusher Live.
Good to be here, thanks.
Beautiful. All right. So, tell me, my friend, what is your how? I'm sorry.
How?
Your what? See,
what?
I tried to trick you.
Panicked me there, sorry.
I tried to trick you. I tricked myself. What is your what?
Right, so the problem solved is helping people to understand the strategy and create the right opportunities throughout their careers and to allow them to have a good work-life balance.
Okay. The problem you solve is helping people have a good career and achieve work-life balance.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think? If that's all we knew, it feels a little general. Feels a little general. Now, here's how this could not be general. Here's how this could be just fine. How could this be just fine? If his who is dialed and his how is really clear with a unique approach, we could be just fine. But we don't know that just yet. So real quick, tell me your who.
Okay, so my who is career-orientated men between 35 to 40 who are struggling to balance ambition with happiness and good health, relationships, and family time.
Okay. And tell me you got, so right as of right now, we're not there, in my opinion.
Okay.
So right now, I've given you 2 levers to use, and I don't feel like we're there with the 2 that you've played, which means you've got 1 card left to pull, 1 lever left to pull and use. This is your last shot. Could the how save him?
Fingers crossed.
The how could save him. If his how is staring at the sun and eating the sun, it could save it. But it's going to take something kind of crazy, because so far we're super general. 35-year-old ambitious men, that should be every freaking guy at 35 to 40 years old. Work-life balance. I mean, everybody that age is probably is overworking, overgrinding. And some levels, it's like, that's what you do in those years. Maybe I'm old school. All right, so my man, give me your how. How are you going to do this? What's your unique process? What's your unique, specific approach to that problem?
So I'm going to show them a simple system to help them understand their true career direction and connect at scale with the right networks to create an abundance of opportunity throughout their careers.
How?
Well, I've got a system which
What's it called?
basically allows them. It's called the 100X Career System.
Okay.
Original.
I've heard that before. That's catchy. Okay. All right. All right. Tell me more about the 100X Career System, because the 100X Career System is your how.
Yeah.
Just so you know, can I ask permission to me really give me some coaching and some feedback?
Of course.
Okay. Everything that you said, when I asked you what your how is, and you said some stuff, I can't remember one word of it. It was just like blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't actually answer the question of how. What you said was actually still what?
Right.
When I asked you for the how, you told me more about the what. How many guys caught that? Then I said, well, how are you going to do that? And that's when finally you said, oh, I have a system. And then I had to say, well, what's it called? And then it was, I have the 100X Career System. Okay, great. How long is it? Tell me about the system. Is it 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? Is it a 3-part, 5-part? So tell me more about this 100X Career System.
Okay, so my background is in recruitment, and essentially what I've always tried to do throughout my recruitment career is, find people jobs with the right companies for the right reasons. So the system is essentially like a career hack, like a recruitment hack, to show people how they can actually do a recruiter's job for themselves. So create their own networks, create their own abundant opportunities throughout their whole careers, and look strategically at what they want to achieve rather than being reactive and removing jobs under duress.
Okay. So would you say that your how is a system that will allow these people to, without sounding cliche, find their dream job?
Dream jobs, yeah, because obviously your needs change throughout your career. So, they're obviously looking to move from job to job throughout the career, strategically rather than reactively.
Okay, but okay. And do you work as a recruiter? Like, do you actually have a placement service? Do you place people at companies? Do you get paid doing that? Or no? You just are having a coaching business?
No. I had my own recruitment business for about 15 years, but I basically closed that because it gave me no joy, basically. I didn't believe in it. And I've been creating an app, so a web app, to obviously automate a lot of the systems that I'm sort of trying to create. But what I realised was that the bridge to get from what's previously happened in terms of how people find jobs and an app to do the job for them, it needs that link.
Let me ask you a question.
That's the reason why I was looking to do
challenges. Do you have a challenge kind of designed already? Do you have a challenge name in mind yet?
Well, I thought I did until you just spoke to me.
Well, what did you think you have? Tell me what you thought. Tell me what was your best idea so far.
But my challenge was going to be about it's a number of parts. So
what was the name? What was it called? What was the name of it?
Well, I was looking at career ignition. So it's helping people understand where they are now, because a lot of people haven't really sat down and thought about where they are now to understand how they can get to where they need to be.
Okay. What was the name of the challenge?
Career ignition.
Career Ignition Challenge. Is that your, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Was there a tagline? Do you have like a tagline for it, or not yet?
No, not at the moment.
All right. So let me come back here. Okay, a couple things. First of all, this is a great conversation. How many guys learning a lot from our conversation? Okay. Awesome, man. So notice a couple things. And I see this all the time. And when you're in the hot seat, if you will, it's kind of easy to get a little nervous, and you're like, sometimes you don't always think straight because you're like, oh my God, I'm talking to Pedro and everyone's watching me. So I get that, and I give people some grace for that a little bit. But I say this all the time when I'm doing this. Did you guys notice how I had to ask the same question sometimes 2 or 3 times to get to answer the question I was asking? Okay? Super common. What's the name of the challenge? Oh, I'm doing 3 things. I'm talking about this, da 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 da. And if I let him go, we'd still be talking. And I was like, okay, but wait a minute. What's the name of the challenge? So this is a sign. Could just be that you're nervous. I'll give people grace that maybe you're nervous. Or it's a sign that you're really not that clear about this. Because when you're being asked very direct questions, and instead of answering that question, you start talking about this and you start talking about that, you're not clear. And you're kind of trying to poke around. And it's like, well, let me just start talking. Let me just start kind of, vomiting all of my knowledge or this, and hopefully I'll find my way in this myriad of words. This is the whole thing that we're trying to solve for you guys right now. And this right now is where most people are at. Okay? So, he's been a recruiter for 15 years. My man, tell me your name again.
Kevin.
Kevin. How many of you guys think Kevin actually knows what the hell he's talking about? 100%. He's been a recruiter for 15. How many people have you placed at jobs in your 15 years? Do you think?
Oh, my goodness, directly and indirectly, thousands.
Is he qualified to give advice on career advice, on navigating your career? Qualified, competent, has all the proof. And yet, we have some work to do because the messaging doesn't speak to any of that. The messaging doesn't actually truly reveal who he is and what he can do. And this is the marketing problem. This is the whole reason why we do this. Most of you are great at what you do. Unfortunately, we have 2 jobs in this industry. Well, you have at least 2 jobs. The first job is you got to actually go learn the thing that you do. So he's got 15 plus years being amazing at recruiting, job placement, career advice, counseling. But because he no longer wants to be an employee, now he has to get good at a whole nother thing, and that is marketing and messaging this thing that I'm really good at. And if I don't get good at this, nobody will know how good I am at that. This is why, well, if I'm the best at what I do, won't I be number 1? No, not necessarily. McDonald's ain't the best hamburgers, but they sell the most hamburgers. I would say most often the biggest is not the best. They're just the best marketers. Now, I'd like for you to consider being the biggest and the best. Oh, Pedro, I'm just the best little kept secret. Okay. But you can be the best and be the biggest. You don't have to compromise quality for scale. So my man has the 15 years, he has the experience, but now we have a messaging problem. So my feedback for you, my friend, is I think you're too broad. Still too broad. I would pick one specific outcome, and again, this is probably cliche, but a dream job challenge. I think I helped one of my coaches here do the Fire Your Boss challenge. right? Was that what we called it? Did you actually do that? Break up with your boss challenge. Miguel ran that. Focus on this one outcome. The one outcome is they're miserable with their current job, and they want to find their next job. But Pedro, I do more than that. I offer career advice. I offer all this stuff. I help them get a long-term vision. That's great. That's awesome. But when people are in pain, and they hate their freaking job, like they're in dread, they don't care about the next 20 years. They're like, dude, get me out of here yesterday. So you can narrow this in on a more specific problem, which is helping them find their next gig. Or whatever other problem is most immediate and quickest. I would have you consider that a lot of people have a hard time thinking about 20 years from now. But we can all think about today, maybe tomorrow. It's the tyranny of the present. We have millions and millions of people that are going to enter retirement who are just behind. They haven't planned well. You know why? Because they never even thought they would be 65 one day. I never thought I would be 47. I never thought I'd be 47, much less 67. No wonder people have a hard time putting money away in their 20s and 30s. Hey, you're 30, but what's your name again, my man? Javier. Javier, you're how old now? Why don't you look around? He's like, who's here? Is my ex-girl? Is my girlfriend here? Right. Javier, you're 52. One day you're going to be 72, and you're not going to have as much energy and do all the things. So my man, start putting away $1,000, $2,000 a month over here. $3,000 a month over here. So by 72, you'll have this. And you're like, dude, but like, that's my party money. That's my nightclub money. That's my Lambo money. 70, what do you think this guy can actually, how hard is it for him to think about, close his eyes, and actually see himself at 72? I would tell you it's damn near impossible. I am in this industry and I can't do it for myself. So if your job is trying to sell people on 20-something years from now, that is a horrible approach. Maybe women can do that. Men can for sure not do this. Women, you guys are amazing. Guys like today or tomorrow. Even next week is like, next week, whoa, I don't know about next week. Okay? So, my man, Kevin, solve a problem right now. Crush it for them with their biggest pain right now, and then you'll have earned the right to be their guide for the next 20 years. But if we're just getting started, and you're asking me to marry you for the next 20 years, that's a hard sell, guys. Come on. So, quick result, specific outcome, right? So that's what I'm going to do, man. I was tighten up. Pick a more specific how, pick a more specific what, and get super clear on your how, dial it in. And I think you might be getting somewhere. Your who is still pretty broad, so I think you actually have some work to do on all three levels. How many of you guys think that sounds about right? Okay, awesome. Guys, give it up for Kevin. Kevin's a great example. It's a great example. 15 years, experience, got the chops. But guys, in this online game, it's not enough. You gotta be, okay, all right. Was that what or was that how? That was kind of both. All right, so rank your how. Look at your how. How specific is it? What is your how? What is your unique process, your signature approach? Well, Pedro, I kind of do what everyone else. I mean, There is no, I have no unique approach. The thing I do is, there's only one way to do it. How many of you guys are having that conversation? Well, Pedro, like what I do, I didn't invent the process. There's just this way that you do it, and everyone does it the same way, and that's why it works. And how many of you guys kind of have that thing? Okay. So guess what you got to do? Innovate on top of that. Customize, personalize, augment, accent, build around it, and make it your own. So, for example, we have a coaching certification program that we do in HunterX. And how many of you guys know that part of a coaching relationship involves goal setting? If you're going to hire a coach, it kind of makes sense to, hey, have some goals, right? Or else how are you going to know if your coach is actually helping you or not if there's no goals? So goal setting, how many of you guys would agree that goal setting is kind of part of the coaching process? Well, I was creating a coaching framework for our HunterX Kingdom Entrepreneurship community, and I had some thoughts about how I thought what the coaching process should look like from that perspective. But goal setting, I was like, well, I don't think I want to go create a whole new framework for goal setting. Like, there's this thing like SMART goals, and now it's like smarter goals. It's been enhanced. I'm like, okay, like, that's probably good enough. Like, I'm probably not going to go just create a better way of setting goals, given that this is not even my jam. So let me take the SMART or smarter goal setting framework that everybody kind of follows, or there's this thing called GROW. Let me go take this, like, I don't need to reinvent the wheel on this. And don't do this. Don't take this well-established thing that everyone knows and then be like, well, I have to make it mine. So let me basically completely knock off this thing, but just change the letters, and let me make up new words to call it something different, even though it's the same thing. I think that's really lame. I would not do that. Just be like, hey guys, there's this proven method for goal setting, and here's how we use it inside of our program. Customize, accent, accessorize, recontextualize to make it your own without having to recreate something that's a building block of your industry. Does that make sense? Couldn't you in fact lose credibility by trying too hard to be innovative? Oh, here's my proprietary goal setting framework. Okay, let me see it. But so you, on a Tuesday night, after eating a chicken sandwich, came up with a better goal setting framework than the last 60 years of research and study and academia and the National Association of... I'm not saying you couldn't. But now people are like, well, why is this better than this? And if it is, more power to you. Then come out guns blazing with your new innovation and tell me why your thing is way better than this old, outdated framework. Pick one. Either have a completely innovative approach that truly is yours, or leverage existing gold standards and build off it, build around it, add to it, make it better. Make it your own. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's your how. That's your how. The quality of your how. 1 through 10. All right, I gotta move. Origin story. Do you have an origin story that connects you to your who? What is your story about this thing? Right? Why did you get into financial services? Why did you become a fitness trainer? Why did you become a career coach? Why do you do this? Like, why? People want to know why. Or you're like, oh, well, I just, my dad did it, my granddad did it, my great-granddad did it. Well, then tell that story. How you're a third generation, fourth generation. It's in our family, it's in our blood, and we da-da-da-da-da. But tell a story that connects to you and your audience as quickly as possible. People love to know your backstory. How did you end up doing this? Why do you do it? How did you end up doing this? Okay? This is especially important if what you're now doing is helping people solve the exact same problem that you solved for yourself. If your who is who you used to be before you became who you are today, 100%, this is a huge, huge, important piece of your overall messaging, your marketing, and your process. If you don't have an origin story, it's like you're just another company, another person, another brand trying to sell something, and now there's really no connection or relevancy to why you're in their life, why you matter. Does that make sense? So, 1 to 10, how effective do you think, how developed is your story? Some of you have never even begun to think about an origin story, or some of you are leaving out huge parts of your origin story. I'm just going to say this because I know this. I did this a little bit. Some of us are not sharing enough of our true story. It took me years in my story to talk about the bankruptcy. I talk about I went through a hard time, it was tough, but I just would leave out the bankruptcy piece. Well, why? Why would you leave out that detail? Because clearly I've still had some shame tied to it. For some reason, I had no problem telling you I was depressed and suicidal. Somehow that was less embarrassing. I had no problem sharing that I begged God to not let me wake up for 2 years. I would tell you that detail, but I didn't mention the bankruptcy. Maybe it was implied, maybe you kind of got the gist, maybe you assumed. But why leave that part out? If you're going to go there, bro, go there. And then some people go like, right away with that extra detail, for anybody in the audience or I'm talking to who has had to go through bankruptcy and still has shame, guilt, doubt, right away they're like, oh my gosh. Right, boom. That's another piece of my story that just swept in a whole other group of people who now all of a sudden are more relatable, more believable, because I was willing to share a piece of a detail that took me a couple years to even feel comfortable talking about. And I think I'm a pretty self-aware, confident guy. And here I am still leaving a little bit of details of my story out. So I would tell you, now look, you don't need to share everything. Right? Use wisdom. But, man, the more you can comfortably, authentically share of your origin story, that actually is relevant to my story. The very thing, I had to make a bunch of mistakes not knowing how to do this. And now I'm on the other side, and now you get to learn from all the mistakes I had to make. You don't have to make them. Right? So think about your origin story. Some of you might be oversharing. Some of you might be oversharing, and you might be just oversharing, and it's kind of taking away the power. Some of you are not sharing enough, and you're kind of still trying to overly protect the narrative, and it's costing you connection. So, how much of your origin story have you processed? How much of it needs to be shared, should be shared, to powerfully connect and bond you? How quickly would you want to bond with your ideal customer? how quickly would you want to, in theory? Instantly, if possible. Instantly, if possible. And I actually think that that is even possible. That does happen. When you, that's even another reason for micro-niching. The better you micro-niche, you will just connect with people before you even open your mouth. They already are feeling comfortable. They're feeling whatever you want to call it, the woo, your vibe, your energy, your spirit. Whatever. They're going to feel you, and right away they're like, dude, I don't know Javier, but I like this guy. I don't know this person, but like, right? So micro-niching starts to create that, but then as soon as you start talking and telling your story, boom. Because what also happens? Sometimes they'll see you, and maybe you actually trigger them. Maybe you look like the last person that they went on that journey with. Maybe you look like their ex-husband, who they hate. And you don't even know that. So you don't even know that, but you have this person that you want to serve. You look like her ex-husband that she like would rather, would. And you got like a minute or two to get out of that, to break up, kill that narrative. So the quicker she understands this is not her ex or someone totally different, oh, you're so nice and sweet. You have a ticking clock to get, right? So if they're going to prejudge you based on your appearance, based on something that you don't even know, the sooner you connect to them, you also help with that issue. Origin stories help you connect. To hear who? A bunch of you people didn't like me at first. I know, it's okay. Too loud. Too everything. So many twos. It's a long list. I got a lot of too much of so much things. But then they're like, you know what? He's not bad. I kind of like this guy. Fears. How dialed into you are their biggest fears? What do they want to avoid at all costs? 1 to 10. Do you know this? This will highly influence the words you use in your copy. This will highly influence the stories that you tell. If you know what their biggest fears are, what they want to avoid at all costs, and you have stories of your background that you can tell about those things, and or stories of your successful customers, oh my word, that's exactly what you should be talking about. Okay? Rank yourself 1 to 10. Desires. What are their biggest dreams, hopes, desires? Where are you at? 1 to 10. Do you really know this? And how do you know this? Well, Pedro, I've done this for 20 years. Kevin, 15 years. I've placed thousands of people. I've been in thousands of interviews. I hear the same thing over and over. I hear this, and that. Okay, great. But what about if you haven't done this for 15 years? Do a challenge. Get amongst these people. Start asking questions. Start serving. Surveys. Doing one-on-one sales calls. You make an offer. They say no. You call them back the next day. Hey, listen, can I get 5 minutes of your time? Hey, I don't want to sell you anything, but you turned down my offer. Can you just tell me, why? I think it'd be great for the program. Again, it's not about reselling you. I'd like to know, how can I get better? How can I get better at communicating the value of this? And now they're going to tell you, well, I don't have 40 hours a week. And you're like, oh, you think it requires 40 hours a week? Oh, yeah, no, it doesn't, actually. It's like 10. Oh, really? And I'm like, well, so right away, you just found out that you're giving off the impression this requires 40 hours a week, or they're assuming that, and now you just learned something that there's a time objection that people have about your offer that you didn't even know was there, which is why you didn't speak to it, and now you're finding out you're losing people enrollment because they think it's going to take 40 hours a week. And now that you know that, what are you going to do? Now you're going to speak to that, address that in your copy, in your messaging, in your pitch. So, what do they want? What are their biggest desires? How well do you know? 1 to 10. Question 7. This is a real question. How much do you really love, do you think you love, is a better question. How much do you really think you're going to love serving this micro who? Like, have an honest gut check. Because I really do believe that love is the best business strategy. I really do think that all of us as human beings are wired to do more for love than logic. And if you love what you do, if you love the people that you serve, it's going to bring the best out of you. It will just bring the best out of you. You will show up, you will serve, you will go the extra mile. It'll keep you fulfilled, it'll keep you in the game. So 1 to 10, your best thought, rank where you're at that. And yes, Jackie Carter, she's like, well, I really don't know. She says, I think I'm an 8, but I don't know. That's great. That's honest. Until you do it, you're not going to know. I've had people break up with their micro niche really fast. You too, Elaine? Really?
Yeah. First challenge, financially really successful. Never going to run it again.
What was the micro niche, real quick?
Like those people,
Who were they?
they were tech bros in their 20s.
Tech what?
Tech bros in their 20s.
Tech pros. Okay. Elaine ran a challenge for tech pros in their 20s. You made money? Would you say even made decent money? Maybe very decent money. She's like, never doing that again. Didn't like those people. Well, does that mean that tech pros in their 20s, these are just mean, evil, awful people? No, just not her people. She's like, nah, I'm good. Let me go. This ain't going to work for me. Okay? So, who do you love? How much do you love them? Rank yourself. All right, last 2. Do you know their top 3 in limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs, obstacles. What are the top 3 reasons, obstacles, beliefs, constraints? Why don't they have this already? You have to know this, guys. You have to know why they don't have this already. Because guess who probably doesn't know why they don't have this already? They themselves probably don't know why they don't have this already. They might know why they might know one of the reasons why they don't have this already. But most people have no idea why they don't have this already. And when you can show up in their life and you can tell them why they don't have it, what happens to your credibility and your authority? Instantaneously to the top. Wow, I've been struggling with my weight, with my fitness, with my memory, with my marriage for the last 10 years, 20 years. No one's ever told me it was because of Mrs. Smith in 3rd grade told me I was stupid. I had no idea that because that happened, I believed this thing about myself that's had me showing up this way. Okay? I'm giving you guys an example. If you're the person that can help them identify what they're actually, so that's supposed to, I changed the name of that. That number 8 is supposed to be getting to the heart of the matter. If you can quickly help them get to the heart of the matter of why really they don't have what they want, what are the real reasons, issues, limiting beliefs holding them back, the quicker you can get to the heart of the matter, the more value, influence, and authority you will garner with them super quick. So, again, rank yourself 1 to 10 on how you feel like you are with that one. Okay? And these last two are kind of more movement-based. I call this one righting the wrongs. What are you helping your people take a stand for and or against? This is what's going to give an edge to your messaging. This is how you're going to stand out. You're going to be a little bit, you're going to be different. This could be even slightly controversial. I'm not saying go after clickbait. I'm not saying create controversy for controversy's sake. I'm just telling you that if you're taking a stand for, if your approach and how you help people cuts against the grain, it's not the common advice that they get all the time. If it goes against the norms, and you're actually exposing lies and things that are being done, and you're righting that wrong, you're telling the people the real truth about how this stuff really works, that's powerful, powerful, powerful to have in your messaging. Do you have a question, Laura?
I have a question. So what if, I just want your opinion, if their limiting belief is actually what they want? So you talk about needing to sell them what they want, not what they need.
Uh-huh.
And what if their limiting belief is actually what they want?
Okay, the question is, what if their limiting belief is actually what they want? Can you give me an example?
So an example is people that think I just need to make more money
Yeah.
to be a millionaire, and they don't realize that they need to know how to steward what they already have so that it can continue to accumulate
Okay.
to become a millionaire. So they want to believe, their limiting belief is they have to make more money.
Okay, so they want to be a millionaire. Here's an example. So somebody wants to be a millionaire, but their limiting belief is that they need to make more money or have more money. Which one? The limiting belief is they need to make more money to become a millionaire. Okay? So, what's the problem with that, Laura?
So do you hit that head on and say why making more money is not the reason why you're not a millionaire?
Yeah, of course.
Or do you sell them what they want, like how to make more money, and then as they come in,
Okay.
you address
Great. The question is, people want to become millionaires. She finds that most people that she serves have a limiting belief that to become a millionaire, they have to make more money. Okay? Now, we don't know if that's a limiting belief or not. Being in the financial business as long as I have and now doing this, I can tell you right now, if you're making $1,000 a year, you need to make a hell of a lot more money to ever be a millionaire.
So what if my who actually makes $100,000 or more a year?
Right. Okay, exactly. So there is on some level, this could be true. Even $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year, okay, depending on where you live, you're a king in a castle or you're on Skid Row. So even that. But let's just say, okay, so here's the idea. They want to become a millionaire, but they're not going to join your millionaire program because, I have to make more money. Let me go figure out how to make more money. Then when I have more money, I will come back to you for advice on how to invest my money, or does that make sense? That's the problem. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Some of you probably think you have to make a ton more money to become a millionaire. And the fact is what I found for many of you, that's not true. Let me explain. Kaboom. Now you show people your thing, your magic, right? Here's betting, and the best thing to do there, what's the best way to prove that? Your own story or
The math
well,
in my own
not,
story.
Not just the math.
Yeah. Some math.
Some math, but not just math. Math in the context of, first of all, math is not money. So that's why it can't be just math.
Right.
It has
It's
to be
also God's word.
It has to be math, money in the context of a story.
Yes.
So now you could tell them your story. Hey, I was just like you. I was only making 89,000 or 40, and here's what we and da 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 da. Here's what we did, and then here's so and so and so and so. So if you have a hardcore limiting belief that is a huge issue that gets in the way of people moving forward, 100% I would hit that head on.
Even though that's not what they want.
Even though it's not what they want, I would still hit that dead on. And then what I would do, then I would also sell them on what they want. Because if you did make a lot more money,
Right.
wouldn't that help you become a millionaire faster? Wouldn't that add fuel to the fire? Of course it would. So I would do both. I would go after the thing that you know is going to keep them from buying. And I would obliterate that objection. I wouldn't just handle it. I wouldn't just deal with it. I would annihilate that objection. To where that thought, that idea has been viscerally removed. They're like, wow, was I wrong about that? But you don't stop there, because now you should give them what they want. Most people want to make more money. And most people want to make more money before they want to save more money. None of us really want to save more money. What I mean by that is, we all know that we should save more money, and we all, in theory, would like to save more money, knowing that by saving more money, we would then have more money available. And yet, most of us really don't want to save more, because saving more means enjoying less now, and what I really want is to live my best life now.
It doesn't have to mean enjoying less now.
Okay? It doesn't. But until you show them how, it does.
Yeah.
And on some level, you can't spend the same dollar twice.
But that's another limiting belief to address, right?
Was what?
Is how to still live a great life while.
100%. So that's part of what you'll teach. But also, here's another thing too. Don't expect people to, I would not expect people to have to, if you're having to overcome too many of these limiting beliefs too soon, you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with that. I would rather you design your messaging in such a way where I can move forward because you helped me get over this one big hurdle. But if I have 3 huge hurdles that you have to go overcome for me to give you my first $1, I think you have a ministry on your hand, not a business. That's like me trying to run 100X, going after staunch atheists. Hardcore, staunch atheists, and now I'm going to go show them kingdom entrepreneurship. I have to get them to what? Believe in a God first. Okay, that's already a big... Then I have to get them to believe in a God who actually cares about them. A lot of people believe in God and don't think that God actually cares about them. I get them to believe in a God, believe that God cares about them. Oh, and by the way, this God will actually wants to have a relationship with you, wants to talk to you, and will give you great business ideas. That's just a lot to do in 5 days or less when I'm trying to build a profitable business. That could be an amazing ministry. But dude, that's like your first day at the gym trying to bench press 400 pounds. You're making it pretty hard on yourself. Part of micro-niching is to help you not have to go jump through and over brick walls to get through to people.
I think that's the key with mine, is because they do believe God's word. So once I can start showing them God's word, I've had people say, I've never seen all these verses about money in one place. I've had pastors' wives say, I've never seen all these verses about money in one place. So since they do believe that, once you show them that and they sit with that, then some of the other things.
Well, this is another key thing. This is why micro-niching down is so powerful. When you micro-niche down enough, you can get a group of people. If you micro-niche down enough, you can get that group of people. You can probably assume they have some deeply held core beliefs in common. Yes or no? Yes. They're like, well, no, Pedro, it's very diverse. Everyone's different. Yeah. But if this was a Trump rally, and everyone's in MAGA hats, don't you think we could assume a couple of things about, aren't there some core common beliefs that we could probably assume about people that would get in their car, drive 100 miles to come to a Trump rally? Yes or no? Love Trump, hate Trump, irrelevant. I can tell you right now, there are some core beliefs all them people have. So, so part of the micro niche, part of the value of it is, how do I connect what I do to deeply held core beliefs they already have? You cannot do that if you don't have a micro niche, because if you've got an audience, people love Trump, hate Trump, don't even know who Trump is, and now you're like, well, you don't know if it's a politically mixed audience. You don't know one core belief these people love. They're going to cheer you over here. They're going to hate you over here. Half the room you talk about, we're going to protect your guns. Yay! These people are going to tomato you. Boo! So now it's like, now you got to tiptoe around all this stuff because you got a room that's super diverse. But if you carve a micro niche, and I use politics as an easy, honest example, just tie in, and not to manipulate them. This could be highly manipulative. This is what they do. This is how politicians and the media manipulate you. Because you don't think Fox knows who their viewers are and what their common core beliefs are? Don't you think CNN and everybody else knows those too? So don't you think all the storylines are feeding right in to this existing narrative and core belief? And I think they do that in a way that leads to manipulate, to fear, to keep us glued to the TV. So it's very powerful, but don't use it to manipulate and take advantage. Use it in service. Because if there's lies that your people believe that are holding them back, they've got this lie or limiting belief here, but there's this thing over here that they believe strongly in, and you're like, hey, has it ever occurred to you that this thing here that you believe and are so committed to actually contradicts this thing over here? What? Now it's like, just show them, and now it's like so much easier versus having to convince them to create a whole new belief out of thin air without anything to anchor on. Does that make sense? That's a nuance. I think that's a powerful nuance. And that little 5 minute there is probably one of the most powerful reasons to micro niche, to commit, to picking a side, to not trying to keep everybody happy, play all sides of the thing. Oh yeah, I'm good with everything. I'm good with everybody. I'm good. Like if you're trying so hard to be like never offend anybody, and I don't think we should ever offend people on purpose. But if you're unwilling to have viewpoints that are offensive to certain people, then I would tell you that you're not probably strongly taking a stand enough for what you actually believe. Does that make sense? And again, it's not about offending people, it's about offending ideologies. I don't think we ever should strive to offend people. But when you're championing something, when you're taking a stand for something, that means there is an adversary. There is something adversarial. There is a reason. There's something, some people, an organization, corruption, gatekeepers, limiting beliefs, strongholds in their mind. There are things keeping these people you say you love from what they want to have. the more clear you are, the more powerfully you can articulate, you're taking a stand against those things, that's going to give all of this the punch that you need. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Last thing. How clear are you on the from to? How clear are you on the from to journey of transformation that you are taking these people on? How clear are you about the pain and the problems of the present and the path, your how, your process, your formula, or your way of applying this proven formula to then the pleasure of the promised land? What is the from to journey? Well, Pedro, I'm not a coach. I don't have a from to journey. You have a from to. Pedro, I'm a real estate agent. I don't have a from to journey. Yes, you do. You help people go from homeless to having an amazing house they love. You go from being a tenant, renting, to being a homeowner. You go from being cramped in a 3-bedroom to living like a king in a 6-bedroom. You better be offering some from to, or else your supplements need to offer a from to. I have a headache, from grumpy with the headache, to headache is gone, I feel good again. From insomniac, can't sleep, to sleeping 8 hours a day soundly. I don't care if you're selling pills, physical products, services. Every single one of us needs to be offering a from to journey of transformation from things that they don't want to what they do want. That is the essence and nature of business. So rank yourself there. And now you know what to do. We're going to add up our scores. How many of you guys are learning a lot?